This video is made for adult collectors because...
Where's my head?
New movie equals new Optimus Prime. There we go. With a new Transformers film comes a new toy line, and this preview toy, if you can call it that, is Studio Series Optimus Prime. This thing, by the way, was bought at CMD store. Here's the box, not sponsored. This is the first toy to come out from the film. There are loads more mainline toys to come and more Studio Series toys next year, but they came out with Prime, who's an A-level figure. What the hell is that? A-level, from my understanding, is going to be toys that will be on shelves longer than usual and will have more of an in-store presence and less of an online presence, which is nice. It makes toy hunting come back, kind of. But enough about that. The toy. How is it? Well, he looks neat. I dig the design of Prime in the film, so I like the way this looks. The yellowy gray, it's a lot less intense in person. Evan said that the film colors look more like this, and yeah, I can kind of see it while watching the trailer. Those early stock images make this look a lot more yellow, and it is not that in person. It's still gonna be present. And the paint matching isn't bad either, though. The thighs are painted, but they match the gray plastic quite well. He is a lot of leg, but the legs look good. They have all the right details there to look Prime-y. The shoulders, they are trigger-happy hot rod shoulders, but they are pretty good at getting out of the way. They don't bump into his head. That, and there are a few transformation hinges in there to help get the arm out of the way a bit more and do like more interesting and dynamic things, which is good. The back is very clean, basically just storing the roof on the back there. There's also storage for the alt mode weapon in there, because I think this is the first time I've seen an alt mode get its own dedicated weapon that stores in the robot mode. I'll show that more later on, but it hates staying on and falls out all the time, and I don't like it, so I leave it off to the side like I do when I have robot accessories in the alt mode. I do like the head. It's a bit more rounded than the traditional Prime, but I dig it. Loads of detail in the face. My only issue is I think the eyes are a little too small. He does have his axe. It's all blue and feels like the same plastic they used on Vector Prime's wings and sword, so it doesn't feel like it's gonna break, even though it is clear. It doesn't have the finger detailing like the mainline deluxe one does, which I kind of wish it did, but it still looks neat pegging onto the hand and being cool. Kind of wish he came with a gun, but I don't know if he has a gun in the film because we haven't seen the film yet. The smokestacks can come off and become guns if you want to, so there's that. He's also really tall and chunky deluxe. I love that. He's about the height of Needlenose, which to me is a good modern big deluxe, so this works. He's also very posable. Even if mine has a loose thigh swivel, which I can fix, it's still fun to mess around with.
Good enough, nothing's really clear. Sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me. But let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me. But let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff.
Even though he has like the most basic of joints nowadays, like he has the same amount of joints as this thing, it's really interesting how some of it like works and moves. However, there are two things that are a bit offy. The first one is this likes to come off of the back out of his storage. So like any robot mode accessory in the alt mode, this alt mode accessory I take and I put it here. And then this crotch plate likes to come off a little bit on my copy, especially when you push it too hard. Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna move it. Now it's come off. It's very easy to put back on, but that is a tiny bit annoying. You have head on a ball joint that can look up that far. He can look down that far. A little bit of tilt, and you have side to side. The shoulders can rotate. They can do a full 360, but this little hinge here, as you saw, can get caught on some things. So you just got to be careful. They can go out that far. You also have a butterfly joint in there, and then you have all these joints to work with as well if you want to use them. You have bicep rotation, elbow bend, wrist rotation. I know a lot of people were curious about this when the stock images came out, so waist rotation. Also, the stock images, when we first saw them, had the waist piece up a bit, which made his torso look really small. It goes down, but you push it up. The legs can go forward that far. They can go back that far. They can go in and out. You have an above the knee swivel. You have 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and then the toes can go down and up. and you got 90 degrees of ankle tilt. So he has all of the joints you want to do posing with. It's just the shoulders, tiny bit awkward because of how they're constructed. I mean, given how they transform, I don't know how they would have been able to fit regular shoulders in there. This one never likes going in. And then there's the hip piece, which is literally just on two little nubs, and it just sort of sits in there. Actually, that kind of doesn't look that bad without the waist piece on. I don't mind that, but I'm putting his diaper back on. It does look like a diaper. I will give it that. It does look like a diaper because it is pretty big. So that's the robot. Interesting and neat. I like it. I wish the alt mode weapon stored a bit better on the back, but it's still cool nonetheless. Now let's move on to whatever the hell this is. So the transformation is we've never had an Optimus transform like this. It's just, we've never had that because this alt mode has never been done before. The weird like arms on the side truck as opposed to arms in the middle of the truck. We're used to this. This is weird. So to start with, you rotate the head, fold it in, and then push it, and it will sit in this little cavity here. And then we are going to take the whole torso, take the back up and rotate it 180 degrees, and then pull. And that will unpeg it from here. Now, when you go back into robot mode, you need to peg these into the grill. Now, when I got this, these pegs would not go in until I grabbed it right here and pushed really hard, and then it stays in place. But it's also not the hardest to like unpeg. It's not gonna come out. I'm just saying when you push really hard, you're not gonna like struggle getting it out. So there's that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to bring the arms out on this weird armature set. You need to take the grill out of the chest and then bring the arms down, and they will peg in here, but we'll do that in a minute because if you peg them in now, they're just gonna come undone. So once you have the arms there, we're gonna take the entire backpack, rotate it, and clip it into the top. Then take the waist piece, put it inside the truck, bring the legs up, and then bend the knee slightly. Now rotate these leg sections around 180 degrees, and then peg the legs together. Fold the feet in. Now the feet do click. They click into place. Now here comes the fiddly part, the arms. So they have to peg into here, here, and here. And getting them to peg into the side, if your thighs are moved ever so slightly at an angle, you have to make sure they are complete. This one's not. This one's not. You have to make sure they are completely straight. Otherwise, it's just not going to sit, and it's going to be annoying. So the first thing that we're going to do is peg the fists into here. So they do peg in. Now this peg is extremely solid and takes a lot of force to come out. Now, fortunately, this is palm, so it's not going to snap, but you do require a little bit of force to remove it from that mounting piece. So peg that in, peg this into the arms, and then you peg the front section in. Make sure it's all nice and flat, and there you have the truck thing. Oh, I always forget this step. Rotate these 180 degrees, and then if you want the guns on the front, you take the guns and you peg them in to the front. I've unpegged the arms. That's the guns on the front. And then the axe, there are those two tabs sticking out. They go into his knee pad. So you want to hook this in first, then get them underneath the knee pads. And that's the axe stored. That's actually pretty clean. I like that. This whole transformation at the end of the day is pretty clean except for the arms hanging out, but it's still fun to do. It was very fiddly at first, trying to figure out how to peg all of this in, and as you can see, that's not really pegged in that well. Yeah, it holds together pretty well. Like, it's not gonna come apart. That's good, but a little fiddly. The transformation, while a little fiddly in the midsection, cleans up and actually looks kind of good as a truck, even if it just has the arms hanging out back there. It's still a nice alien truck though. I like the shaping of the cab and how the shoulder sections stick out of the front. Works for me. The back isn't the cleanest looking thing. It's just arms and legs, but being a Cybertronian, I can personally forgive that a bit more because they aren't hiding from things on their own planet. They're just a mode of transportation. The guns can peg into the front and the axe can go on the back for the storage, as I showed earlier. And yeah, that looks neat, but personally, I like the guns off the front. I do wish the arm pegs were a bit more secure and the fists are they're just hanging out there. Really wish they'd like compressed somehow if they folded in and then went into a cavity in the thighs. That would have been cool. Plastic also feels all right too. Not as good as like Needle Nose or Origins Jazz, but it's about on par with, say, Cybertron Hotshot. I like it. It's pretty cool. I like it. I don't know why I said it like that. I like it. It's pretty cool. My issues I had with the transformation slowly went away as I played with it more and more over the weekend, but I do wish the alt mode held together a bit more securely. The design probably would work great as a Voyager, but given the goal of A-level, it's a deluxe. I'm glad I got it, and I'm glad it's going to be available in a lot of places more so than everything else. If you have the chance to get one, I would say do so. You're just gonna have to work with that transformation. But would you buy this or the mainline one more? Because the mainline one is going to be cheaper. It's missing some of the articulation, but it has silver-ish gray, not yellowy gray. So I'm curious. But that's my look at Transformers 1 A-Level Studio Series Optimus Prime. God, it's weird saying Transformers 1 at the end of a video now. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.